Hello, Math 130 students. We are going to pick up on page 1. This is the beginning of chapter 2, section 2.1, which is all about linear equations in two variables. So we talk about the Cartesian coordinate system, or the rectangular coordinate system, or better yet, the XY. So here we have the x-axis, and up on top we have the y-axis. So whenever the x-axis and the y-axis intersect, that's going to be right smack in the middle. So that point is referred to as the origin, and we know that to be at 0, 0, where x is 0 and my y is 0. And we also have the four regions, is called the quadrants. So we have quadrants 1, quadrants 2, quadrants 3, and quadrants 4. And we use Roman numerals to describe the quadrants. So it also says that points graphed in a rectangular coordinate system are defined by two numbers as an ordered pair. And the ordered pair always goes alphabetically, so we usually say it's x and y. If we let a, b, and c be real numbers, such that a and b are not both 0, then a linear equation in two variables is an equation that can be written in standard form. So I have ax plus by is equal to c in standard form, where a and b are not fractions. And a blank to a linear equation in two variables is an ordered pair xy that makes the equation a true statement. So that would be a solution. So a solution to the linear equation makes a statement true. Okay? So let's think about this. It says determine whether each ordered pair is a solution for the equation. So again, so here's a solution, and we want to determine. So we want to know, does that point work? So does it make a true statement? And you're going to have to determine whether it's true or false. Okay? Is it truth or is it a lie? So here, what we have that the x value. Oops, sorry about that, guys. Sorry, I must have pushed something. So my x value is x is equal to 4, and my y value is equal to -3. So I'm going to plug these values into my x plus my 4y is equal to a -8. And I like to put parentheses where I'm going to plug in my values, so that makes it a little bit easier to see. So the x value I'm plugging in is 4, and the y value is a -3. So I want to know, does this make a true statement? So I have 4 minus 12. And 4 minus 12 is going to give me a -8, which is perfect. So -8 is equal to a -8. So this was definitely a true statement. And what ended up happening is that 4, -3 is a solution. And the reason it's a solution because I made a true statement. So it's a yes. Now let's check out part B. For part B, we are going to say that this is going to be x is equal to -2 and y is equal to a -1. And we'll plug it in into the same equation, x plus 4y is equal to a -8. So again, I just like to put parentheses. Whenever I'm going to plug in values, it's just a good habit to have. So my x value I'm plugging in is 2, and my y value is -1. So I'm going to have a -2 plus a -4. That gives me -6. Does it equal the same as -8? Well, -6 and -8, those are not the same values. So this would actually be a false statement, right? So I would say that -2, -1 is not a solution. So I would say no. So this is a false statement, and my answer is going to be no. Okay, So now for the next part, we are going to be graphing points on the xy plane. So let's go ahead and follow steps 1, 2, 3, 4 for each point that I have here. So for my point A, I have -4, 6. So this is saying that my x value is -4 and my y value is a +6. So if I go to where x is equal to -4, so that's here, and my y value is here at +6, well, that point that they intersect is here. So that would be my point A. Now let's go on to my point B. That's 5, 3. So that is saying that x is equal to 5 and y is equal to a +3. So x is equal to 5 is going to be between the 4 and the 6, and the y is equal to 3 is going to be right here. So that intersection is going to be here. So that's going to be my point B. Okay. Now I want to go on to my point C. So for point C, I have 4, -7. So x is equal to 4, and my y value is equal to -7. So if x is equal to 4, there's that, and y is equal to -7. Well, -7 is right in here. So that point is going to be here, and that's going to be my point C. And now my last value for point D. So for point D, I have a -1, -2. Ooh, it doesn't like me writing there, so I'm going to go somewhere else. I think there's like a dead spot on my laptop. Okay, so let's try that one more time. So point D, I have my -1, -2, where x is equal to a -1 and my y value is a -2. So x at -1 is here. This is my -1 value along the x-axis, and y is equal to -2 is here. So my point is going to be there from my point D. So now I have my A, B, C, and D values on this graph. So that's all I'm doing. I'm just graphing the points. Now for page 3, this is a question directly taken from the homework. A lot of students always complain that, oh, the lecture had nothing to do with the homework. Well, not in my class, right? This I'm actually copying and pasting from the homework into the lecture, okay? So this is the graph of y is equal to 2x plus 2. We want to determine whether or not these ordered pairs A, B, C, and D are solutions to the equations. So, okay, let's think about this. So this one is saying that x is equal to 0 and my y is equal to 0. So 0, 0's at the origin. Is that point on the line? No, it's not. It's nowhere near it. So we're not going to check it off. So let's try the next one. So this one is saying that x is equal to 0 and my y is equal to a -2. So if x is 0 and my y is equal to -2, I'm here. That's point B. No, that point is not on a line either. So let's keep going. Well, this one for part C, it's saying that x is equal to 0 and my y is equal to +2. So 0, 2 is here. This point right here is C. Well, this is definitely on my linear equation, that graph, so I'm going to check that off. Now, the next one, I'm going to have that x is equal to 1 and y is equal to 4. So 1, 4 is here. So this point is point D, and this one is definitely going to be on the line, so that's a solution as well. So then here I have x is equal to a -1 as y is equal to 0. So -1, y is 0 is here. So that point is my point E. So this is also going to get checked off. So when it says select all that apply, I'm selecting C, D, and E to be solutions to this equation, okay? That's because they lie directly on that line. Now, we're going to be talking about graphing horizontal and vertical lines. Whenever I have a horizontal line, that means it goes from left to right. So left to right looks like this. So, oops. And let's try to make that a horizontal line. It's as straight as I can make it. So this slope would be m is equal to 0. Now for a vertical line, this goes up and down. So a vertical line goes straight up and down. So then this slope you would say is undefined. So straight up and down looks like this. It's a vertical line. So now the example says graph the horizontal and vertical lines given below. Well, I know it's either going to go up and down or left to right. So let's think about which one it is. So I have some ordered pairs to think about. This is saying that x is equal to -3. So no matter what, my x value is fixed. That means my y value can be anything. So I don't know, maybe I'll try 0. Maybe I'll try a 2. Maybe I'll try a -2, right? So these are all the different values that I'm going to try as long as my x value is stuck at -3. So -3, 0 is right there. If I have -3, 2, that's there. And if I have my -3, -2, that's there. So my line ends up being vertical. So this ends up becoming a vertical line, and my slope is undefined. Now, for the next one, I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay, well, for this one, I have y is equal to 4. So if I'm thinking about my ordered pairs, the only value that is fixed is 4. So this is going to stay fixed at 4. So that means I can make this a 0, I can make this a -2, and I can make this, let's say, a +2. Any values of x goes. So if I were to have 0, 4, I'm there. If I were to have -2, 4, I'm there. And if I were to have +2, 4, I'm here. So then this line, when y is equal to some number, that's going to be a horizontal line. This is where my m is equal to 0. So whenever I have y is equal to any number, I should automatically be thinking, oh, it's going to be a horizontal line. My slope is going to be 0. Now, let's talk about intercepts. So I have the x-intercept and I have the y-intercept. So here, the x-intercept is a point, blank, where the point intersects the x-axis. Find the x-intercept by letting y equal to 0 and solving for x. So it's a point where I have some number for x and 0 for y. For the y-intercept, I have 0 for x and some number for y. And it's the point that intersects the y-axis. So we find the y-intercept by letting the x equal to 0 and solving for y. So for these examples, it says identify the x and the y-intercept. So I'm like, okay, so let's think about the x-intercept. I know it has to be an ordered pair. It's an x and a y value. No matter what, I know that that y value has to be 0, okay? So along the x-axis, I see 2 for my x value. Now, if I go to my y-intercept, I know it has to be an ordered pair where I have x and y. So in order to be true, the x value has to be 0. So along the y-axis, I see that -2 for my y-intercept, okay? So this is what I'm going to do for the second one as well. So here I'm looking for my x-intercept. So I know it's an ordered pair, x and y. So along the x-axis, it looks like it's a -4. And for my y-intercept, I have the x and y value, so the x has to be 0, so along the y-axis it's a -3. Now for number 3 and number 4, they're not given graphs. I'm going to have to figure this out algebraically. So let's think about this. I'm going to find the x-intercept. That's when you let the y value equal to 0. So then you have x plus the y value, which is 0, is equal to 8. So x is equal to 8. So you were to write this as 8, 0 as your x-intercept. Now, if you are trying to find the y-intercept, what you would do is you would let the x value equal to 0. So the x is now 0, and you have plus y is equal to 8. So y is equal to 8. So your y-intercept is 0, 8 for your y-intercept. Now for number 4, exact same process. So I am going to have to find my x-intercept. So I know that I'm going to have to let my y equal to 0. So I am going to have -10x plus 15, and that y value is 0, is equal to 60. But 0 times anything is just 0. So I have a -10x is equal to 60. So if I have 60 divided by -10, that gives you a -6. So your x-intercept would be -6, 0 for your x-intercept. Now, let's say you want to get the y-intercept. That's where you're going to let your x value equal to 0. So I'm going to have a -10, and that x value now is 0, plus a 15y is equal to 60. So 0 times anything is just 0. So you have your 15y is equal to 60. So then 60 divided by 15 would give you 4. So your y-intercept would be 0, 4. That would be your y-intercept. Now, this is just slightly different. Now they want you to find the x and y-intercept and then graph it by finding the x and y-intercept. So you're just like, okay, so let's first go with the x-intercept. You know that you're going to plug in 0 for y. So basically the y value goes away. So you have 2x plus 3, and then your y value is 0, is equal to 18. So 2x is equal to 18. So x is going to equal to 18 divided by 2, which is 9. So now I can say that the x-intercept is going to be 9, 0. So 9, 0 is here. Now I'm going to be thinking about the y-intercept. So I'm going to have my 2, that's a 0 for x, plus 3y is equal to 18. So 3y is equal to 18. So y is equal to 18 divided by 3, which is a 6. So this is really a 0, 6 for your y-intercept. So that's here. So now what you would do is graph and connect those two lines. Oops, I didn't make that very nice, did I? I'll try that again. So hopefully you guys have rulers, or at least you have that option in Newton to make it a straight line. I'm just kind of freehanding it, but I think more or less you get the idea. So now for number 2, well, let's think about this a little bit. I have 5x is equal to 10. There is no y value. So I already think that's weird, but I'm going to keep going with it. So I'm going to divide by 5 on both sides so that x is equal to a positive 2. So this is just saying that the x value is stuck at 2. Well, don't you guys remember what type of equation this is going to be? This is going to be a vertical line. So my x-intercept here is going to be my 2, 0. And then your y-intercept, well, this line doesn't have a y. And there is no y-intercept, so you say none. There's no way that that line that goes up and down is ever going to hit the y-axis. So now for number 3, I'm looking at that and I'm like, okay, well, I'm looking at this and I already see something that's weird. There isn't an x value. So I'm going to keep going with it. So 18y is equal to a negative 72. So if I divide out that 18 on both sides, negative 72 divided by 18 is going to give me a negative 4. So at y, I have a negative 4. So this one tells me I have a horizontal line. Okay? So this is going to be a horizontal line. So here, my y-intercept is going to be at 0, negative 4. And the x-intercept is going to be none. And the reason that is because this is a horizontal line. Your slope is equal to 0. You only had a y value. And then for this last one, I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay, I usually write it in the y is equal to mx plus b form. That usually helps me out. But remember, it's asking us to find the x and the y intercepts. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to forget about that for just a moment. I'm trying to find the x-intercept. Well, that tells me that I'm going to let my y value equal to 0. So then x is equal to 2/3 times 0. So then x is equal to 0. So then my x-intercept here is 0, 0 for x-intercept. So, okay, here is my 0, 0. Now, I'm going to try to find my y-intercept. So that's going to let my x value equal to 0. So my x value is 0, and I have a equals to a 2/3 y. So then for this one, I'm looking at it, and I'm like, okay, well, what is going on? I have that my y-intercept, well, if I were to multiply both sides by the reciprocal, or actually, let's write it out. So it'd be a 3/2 times a 3/2. Well, 0 times 0 is just 0. So my y-intercept would be at 0, 0. So it's exactly the same as my x-intercept. So how am I supposed to graph this problem? Well, remember when I said I usually use that y equals mx plus b? That's what's going to help us here. So this one is a very special type of problem. So remember, I have that x is equal to 2/3 y. This would be the same as saying that it's 2/3 y is equal to x. All I did was put the y on the left-hand side and kept the equation balanced. So now, to get the y by itself, that would be a 3/2. So I would get y is equal to a 3/2 x. Now, any value that you add to this has to keep the equation true. So I'm going to use it as plus 0. So this 3/2 that I see here is going to represent something called the slope. 3/2. So that means I'm going to go up 3 and to the right 2 from that intercept. So I'm going to go up 3 and over 2. And so now I can see my graph, right? I went up 3 and over 2. So now my graph looks like this. So that's how I'm able to graph this. And this is going to be later explained a little bit more in detail in my section 2.2. So number 4 is kind of just a preview for section 2.2, which is going to be the next video. Okay, thank you guys. And if you guys have any questions, please feel free to email me or contact the Math Success Center for tutoring. Thank you.